cloud cover cloud oh boy, a good cloud covered morning to ye all, from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Just picked up some hoodies that a client of ours ordered for his school group that he's bringing here out from Colorado. And this is the second year in a row he's done this, and we certainly appreciate that business. And so I picked up the shirts for him, and now I'll have them somewhere but until he and his group come. Hope you're all doing well. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Michael. And yes, Colorado. People come from all over the globe to see the battlefield here at Gettysburg. And I certainly love the idea of a teacher who brings his students out here addressing Gettysburg hoodies for the trip. They're customized, and we get them printed locally here in town. So 3 boxes of shirts. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Just watched The Alamo 2004. Oh, with Billy Bob Thornton? You know, I think that movie is good. I like that movie. And it's a shame that it didn't do better, because I think it's a good movie. It's a well-made movie. I don't know a tremendous amount about the history of the Alamo, but what I did know seemed to match up. Pretty good. Morning, Donald. How are you? Morning, Matthew. Donald says he loves his AG hoodie. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We always get a couple of extras, as like giveaways or something like that. I can't wear hoodies. I don't know why. Or sweatshirts, sweat clothes in general. I never did take to them for some reason. I mean, when I was a kid, I wore them, because your mom buys the clothes for you, and she's like, "Here, wear this today." So, what are you gonna do? But as you get older, I don't know. I never really could do it. So I know people love hoodies. So I appreciate that people buy our hoodies, or T-shirts, or mugs, or whatever. And it's very convenient now, because YouTube, once I hit 10,000 followers, I was able to connect my YouTube channel to our store. So you might notice when you watch videos that there are thumbnails under the video with items, or if you're watching on your TV and you go up to the menu where the like button is and all those other things, while the video is playing, it says shop. You can go there, you go to the shop. We teamed up last year with the Heritage Depot, which is run by Mike Stretch, who does our website. He designed our logo, and he's got a whole bunch of designs over there that aren't only Civil War or Gettysburg. He's got a lot of World War II stuff, so you might want to go check out our site there. I don't promote it enough because I'm trying to find the time to make a commercial for it, but that's the theme of my year so far. It's trying to find the time. But I sent a message to Dave, my booker, and we're going to talk on Sunday. We're going to take an inventory of all the shows that we have. That's the other thing. I'm running out of memory, because now we're doing every show as a video show, and video takes up so much memory. I bought an 8 terabyte hard drive, which is not cheap, to put all of the video shows on, and I'm already down to 1 terabyte. So what I have to do is start editing shows, scheduling the edited version, uploading it and scheduling it for release in the future, and then backing up those used up files to the cloud, so that I can delete them from the physical hard drive and make space. And all that is very, very time consuming. That's why it's piled up, because I really haven't had the time to say. I mean, it's literally like a whole day and often with editing, depending on, I won't bore you with the technical stuff, but depending on how it's all done, it could be more than a day. So it's so we're going to have a call, and we're going to see, like, what do we have in the can. Now that I spoke to the patrons and I told them my plans for the year, and that the first thing I have to get is time. And in order to do that, I figured if I released fewer episodes on Patreon temporarily, to buy me that time, then I don't have to worry about editing and putting up a show every week, because it just eats up any free time I have. And we won't be able to do the projects that we have planned this year. And the patrons, of course, are the coolest people on earth, and they're like, do what you got to do. We're still here. Although a couple did say, well, I do like getting 4 episodes a month, so, as long as it's temporary, and it is. It's going to be temporary, probably for the bulk of this year, but by the end of the year, we could probably get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Anyway, all that to say, I need time. So we're going to try to open up some time. Yes, Michael, you've got to get some merch at some point. Should have been buying it twice a year, actually, all along. So you got some catching up to do. Hola, Eric, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see Eric back in the comments. He's been sparse for a while. I have a feeling we're not going to see Eric a lot this year, because he says that he's going to Antietam a lot more this year. So I'm sure he'll stop in, though, and say hi. Have to come over for the barbecue in May. They are pushing for a director's cut of the film. Oh, that would be cool. I do like that film. That is a good film. Ty says it's a more true ending than the John Wayne ending. Yeah. Well, all of Hollywood's endings prior to that movie, I think, were kind of fanciful. Let's see. Michael says, shit, did I pass my exit already? I think I did. We are batting 1,000 today, folks. Well, I've got time. We'll just go a different route. Yeah, that's what we'll do. I blew right past the exit because I was talking to you guys. Oh, Matt. The John Wayne one is long. It's a bit of a slog. I think it was the first movie he directed, and so I think he kind of overdid it. And I think his smoking habit got very heavy during that, heavier than it was normal. I think he smoked like 6 packs of non-filtered Camels a day. That's insane. That is insane. But your first directorial debut, and you're already a big name and lots riding on that, I guess it's going to be stressful. You're also in the movie. Yeah, Ty, I agree. It's one of my least favorite, too. Good morning, Paul. How are you? Make sure you free space. Oh, yeah, I got a free space. I haven't been in Antietam since 2010. Good time. Coal hauling says it would be great if you guys would put on a podcaster weekend where you show tips and techniques. I've thought of that. Good time. I just didn't think anybody would be interested. But if you are, what types of tips and techniques are you looking for specifically? Like how to get started, or how to improve things after you've gotten started, or equipment, or like what? Give me an idea of what you're looking for, because I would like to do that. I think knowledge, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is useless if you hold it to yourself. Some people share it for free, other people charge for it, and I think it's fine either way. But you should be willing to share what you know, because, if you don't, people will find out another way. It's not like you're holding on to anything super secret. Unless you're McDonald's and you're talking about the secret sauce, which no one has figured out. Ever. Yeah, it is a gloomy day today. But it's supposed to be up to 75. Right now it's 55, so I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's early yet. Give it time. Eric, that is not true. I did see your text about, okay, I didn't respond to that one. I did see your text about Ron Kirkwood saying hello, but I figured by the time I saw it, you hadn't been near him anyway for a while, so I wasn't going to say hi back, so I just, texted him hello. Yeah, that is. I wonder if good time left after making that comment. I do think that's a good idea. Good time hauling, excuse me. So yeah, I would like to do something like that. Yeah, I guess someone will watch it and find it interesting. Maybe not anybody in this audience, but like someone who's looking to do a podcast. I mean, I might have pictures of when Eric and I were building the studio in the shed, and I might have taken pictures of Eric building the table too. I don't know. I have to look back. That would actually be fun. How many director's cuts version of the film are there of Gettysburg? One. There's the director's cut. There are some. Well, no. I mean, the director's cut has all the. Well, I don't know about all, but it has. Well, a director's cut is the director's original vision before the producers and the money people get their hands on it, and then they have to cut it down for time or whatever, and so. And you know what's funny is I do like the director's cut because I just like to see the extra stuff from the movie that I'm interested to see how they make the cuts. So like there's the movie that we know and love, and then there's what the director wanted us to see, and what his original version was, and so he had to cut things out. And so I always find it interesting to see how they make the cuts and make it all flow together, and it doesn't seem disjointed. Don says, just joined. Where are we headed? East Cavalry? No, we're heading to Hanover. I have a meeting in Hanover, so thought I'd say hi to ye and shoot the shit for a while. Good time. There he is. Was there a Centurion cut of Gettysburg? Centurion cut? I don't believe there was. I don't really know. I've never heard of a Centurion cut. But as far as I know, there's just the director's cut. The one that you can get. I like the extended Sam Elliott scenes. And, the one thing about director's cuts that's interesting is you can really see that, like, there are a few movies I've seen where I like the director's cut more than I like the theatrical release. And it should tell you that, like, and this is for anybody who's like trying to get into creative things. They say you have to learn to kill your babies. And I think that's why there's a team of people, because there's certain things that make sense to the director, that the director really is, whatever, for whatever reason, they want to get it out there. But it doesn't work in the final product. And so you have those other people in there that say, nah, this has got to go. This is where it slows down or whatever. But one of the scenes in the director's cut is the Flapjacks and Small Mountains scene is extended. And I like that scene. But because there's, information given. But we've seen that movie for God knows how many years without that information, and it still works. I guess that's my point. And I'm sorry for the blur. There we go. It's annoying. Oh, is there a Ron cut? Okay, like a Ron Maxwell cut. That's the director's cut. Oh, wait, hold on a second. That wasn't you, Michael. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm all confused here. Is there a Centurion cut? Yeah, I'm glad they Ron. I've lost the plot. I'm sorry. Steve says, just heard Don Heiser got denied for the licensed Battlefield Guide. How does that happen? Well, that's the big question, isn't it? We all saw John there, and we're like, well, he's definitely going to he's definitely going to pass. And, yeah. We're all kind of befuddled. We're all befuddled. Gods in general, says Michael, and Antietam was put in the wrong date of battle. Yes. And that Antietam scene, again, that's another one. It really could have been cut like they did. It was just not, I don't know. It's Antietam. And, they spent more time on that little girl dying than they did the Battle of Antietam. I really could have done without the little girl dying. Nobody likes that. And all of that whole little girl thing was just, I think, to build up to Jackson crying and then one of his staff officers saying he's crying for all of them. Did we need that whole thing just for that? Okay, I get it. He's got a heart. But again, that's why there's more than one person that looks at it. Good time. One that has the script readings behind the scenes. I have one for Two-Lane Blacktop, old hot movie. It is awesome. Oh, those. Yes. Is that what they call those? Centurion cuts? I've never heard that before. Yeah, I've seen a few of those. I haven't. I don't know if there's one for Gettysburg. If there is, I haven't seen it. Now I'm curious. So I don't know, good time, if you left and came back, but I was asking you before about your idea about tips and techniques. Is there anything in particular that you would like me to cover? Like, is it how to get started or how to improve after you've started? Gear? Like, what exactly are you thinking? Done. What town is the electric map in now? Hanover? Yes, it is. It is in Hanover. A couple buildings off the square. It's in an old bank, actually. There's I know it's a cake store, like a bakery on the first floor, and I think a comic book store or something in that vein behind that. And then upstairs is where the map is, but you have to make an appointment to go and see it. I actually, if I put together a little trip to see the map, would you guys be interested in that? Oh, I don't know, Steve. I don't know. If you're saying, by saying that, if you're saying that the test was flawed, I mean, there is that theory out there. However, people did pass it. And they didn't pass it, I mean, they passed it with good grades. So, I mean, of course we needed a curve, but even still, I don't know. I can't. Well, I guess I don't get so worked up over the guide exam. I was a little dumbfounded at first because everybody just seemed that it was like it just seemed to be everybody felt a little ambushed and blindsided by the whole thing. But at the end of the day, people did pass it. And also, it kind of taught me that I don't think I really want to be a guide. Honorary, yes, when they recognize the importance of addressing Gettysburg, sure, I'll take the honorary. But until then, I don't think like a guide. I mean, I do, but I don't think like what the test wants you to think like. Like I love to show people around. I enjoy doing it. I think I'll just leave it at that. Like I want to, if it's something you start doing for work, it comes with headaches, and the joy can be gone, especially if you do a lot of them. For me, I don't know about everybody, but for me, that's kind of how it is. And so, like I love to do the show, but I don't know if the joy is still there anymore because it's become my work. But I still love to do it. Every month when I consider quitting, I go, well, what am I going to do? Like, I can't think of another thing that I would want to do or that I could devote myself to where I would be good and not get fired after 3 months. But I don't know many things that retain their joy. Sure, like it pokes through every now and then. Like there's a moment where we'll have a really good show with someone who, like, okay, if we're going to, if I have a show to do and I'm not particularly interested in the topic or familiar with the topic, and I'm a little nervous that I'm not going to be able to come up with enough questions, but then I sit down with the person and they're very easy to talk to, and then we end up having a way better show than I expected to have, then the joy kind of pops out. But in the day-to-day humdrum, the joy is gone. But what isn't? I mean, somebody in their marriage, you still love your spouse, but the joy of coming home to each other, it's gone. It's just life. The porch chats. I have a deck now, and once we get our spring cleaning done, I think I'll start doing deck chats. How's that? And we'll just sit and talk. I had more to say back in the day of the porch chats. I've kind of not that I've run out of things to say, but I guess it was new back then. Everything was new, so there was a lot to share, information-wise. Like, oh, this is the thing we're doing now, or this just happened today, or whatever. And it's different. I don't live in town anymore, so I'm not connected to things like I used to be. I'm not single, so I'm doing a lot of non-battle things or non-history things with my free time that I wasn't doing before. 100% of my time, except for sleeping time, revolved around the show and the battle. Back in those early days when I was doing the porch chats. And then COVID helped because nobody was doing anything. So like we had a Zoom group for a while. It's all stuff I love to do. It's all stuff I miss doing, but it's, life goes on, right? Things evolve and change, but I do miss doing them. So maybe I'll try to bring those back. All right. right, let's see. Good morning, Jeffrey. Good morning. Yes, better late than never. Don says yes, map trip. Jeff says interested. All right, all right. Does the map lead to a pot of little ground top? Well, maybe I'll include a bag of little ground top in the whole thing, right? We'll do something like that. I I'd have to sell tickets to the thing because they charge obviously for the map, but it's well worth it. Some of you who are patrons might remember I had a guy named Mark Charisse on, and we talked about the electric map. He's the guy that's he does the show now and everything. He does magic. Remember, he was to show me some magic tricks, and I was embarrassed that I couldn't figure them out. He does a really nice job of it. And for those of you who have seen the electric map, who grew up with the electric map, or your early Gettysburg experiences involved the electric map, there's a nice bit of nostalgia. What's particularly interesting is the audio that he plays is a recording of Joe Rosensteel, who's the guy who built the map. And it's interesting because you can hear, like, somebody just had a microphone in the room as he gave the presentation. So it's not the best audio quality, but you can hear the lights being switched on and off in the background every once in a while, which is pretty cool. But it's the original script, so it's not what the Park Service used. It's what the Park Service based their script on, if I recall correctly. So there's some variations, some changes in there. But by the way, we're almost at 10,000 views for the Louis Trott Lee's Planet Gettysburg episode. Thank you very much, all of you who watched that. I was telling Lewis, like, every time it went up by another 1,000, I was like, you're up to 4,500 now, and 5,500 now. And he was pleasantly surprised. So thank you for making Lewis a star. And but somebody had commented, not one mention of Stuart's plan to ride around and strike the Union line from the rear. And then he went into this whole ChatGPT sourced diatribe about Napoleon. And, so I think 6 questions and me both responded to it, basically saying that that's been debunked. And that actually, I believe, or I've been led to believe, comes from the electric map. And so for people who wonder, like, why do you need to have a licensed guide? Like, why do you need a license to give a tour? You don't. You need a license to charge for a tour. But it's examples of like that make you that can explain to you why you need to have a license and why they want to kind of have some control over things. Now, that said, I never saw the electric map when it was in private hands. I saw the electric map when it was at the visitor center, and I got the idea that Stuart was doing that from the electric map. So yes, it's good to want to control the information, but not when you're endorsing incorrect information. That's where it's kind of, really, like that type of thing. You just kind of scratch your head and go, really? So I'll put that together. Maybe we'll do it in the fall. Let's see. It is a tough test, Michael. Roy, hello, Roy. He says, I want to be here and see about Rufus Jaws. Rufus Jaws, 6th Wisconsin. Have you ever been here, Roy, to Gettysburg? Michael says, I missed the chats. I read that one. Rufus Jaws, Wisconsin Railroad. Those were fun. Ty says, honorary is very prestigious, actually. I bestowed myself with a dozen honorary doctorates from the nation's highest institutions. You've bestowed yourself. Yes. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Ghost says, holy hell, I caught a live show. Hello, all. Yeah, I'm going to try to start doing them a little more often. I didn't realize how these things helped views and revenue. So I stopped doing them for a while. There was a pure joy, which was evident in the recording of Parsons Mill. Hey, Jeffrey, yes, because okay, for those of you who don't know, it's no longer April Fool's Day. We put out a show on Monday, the Battle of Parsons Mill, the forgotten Battle of Parsons Mill, which took place the day before the Battle of Wilson's Creek, so of course it was overshadowed. Small action, only a couple thousand troops involved. It was more of maybe a heavy skirmish, you could say. I don't know, but it's totally fictitious. Yes, I won't say who because I don't want to embarrass him, but I saw a licensed guide yesterday, and he goes, "Oh, I started watching your episode about the Battle of Parsons Mill," and I laughed, and I missed that he said I started watching, and so I laughed and I said, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "That's fascinating." He goes, "I've been to Wilson's Creek. I never heard of that." And I said, I laughed again. I thought he was playing along. And I go, "How long did it take before you realized it was an April Fool's?" And he goes, "That's an April Fool's?" And I go, "Yeah." Oh, and he goes, "Oh, I didn't finish it." And I was like, "Oh, God damn it." So I still recommend you watch it because I have to say, I said to Mike afterwards, I said, "I think we're barking up the wrong tree. We should be actors because that was the greatest acting job I've ever seen. It was complete bullshit. We made everything up. Here's what you can do. You can go back now and you can watch for some of the clues, and these aren't very obvious clues, but you can go back and watch for them nonetheless. Let me just back up here and not run anybody over. Thank you. There we go. I'll give you a couple of them right now. One, all of the now this was Mike's doing because Mike's a big soccer fan. And I was like, all right, no one is going to know this because real Americans don't care about soccer, right? So I said, so Mike said, let's name all of the commanders after soccer players. I was like, fine, go ahead. And he went through a list of soccer players and we threw out names that sounded like they could have been, American-ish names during the Civil War. So all of those are soccer players. All of the points of interest on the battlefield bear the surname of either a 80s or 90s sitcom character or family. So Tanner's Ridge is named after the Tanner family on Full House. Taylor's Creek, Tim the Toolman Taylor. The Chambers Farm, Diane Chambers. Buckman's Woods and the Buckman Farm is Paul Buckman from Mad About You. And that was originally Belding's Woods. But I said, how many people know Belding's? Like, everybody is going to think of Mr. Belding. That'll be the giveaway to that. So we changed it to Buckman. And then Winslow, the Winslows from Family Matters. And Parson is the only name that is not a sitcom name. Only because that we had the name of the battle before we had the story of the battle. So that's the story with Parsons Mills. I am way early for this meeting. So anyway, so we got together, we brainstormed the troop movements and everything, and that was actually pretty easy to do. And then we kind of zoomed in for some details, and then we added the color of the personalities and maybe how they didn't get along. And oh, by the way, the woman that the two colonels were trying to win the heart of, her last name Krenwinkel, is one of the Manson girls. Yeah, we threw Manson in there. And then Mike went home on his own and made maps and then sent me the maps. He was like, I made maps. And I thought it was funny that they looked like a child did them, so we used those. And then the big tip-off, if you didn't get it by the end, should have been the casualties. We all know that casualties tend to have more wounded than killed. And we flipped that. And we made them obscenely high. I think out of 1,100 Union soldiers, there were 800 casualties, 600 of which were killed. That's a massacre. That's not a battle, as Six Questions said. So, yeah, but go and check it out anyway. At least to admire the great improvisational acting skills of Matt and Mike. But yes, to your point, Jeffrey, there was pure joy there because it was fun. It was we got to flex our creative muscles, and I don't know. We knew that like there were a couple comments where I think people were pissed, and I'm like, how are you pissed on April Fool's Day? Like, what? I don't get it. It's the greatest holiday of the year. You really think that's what it is, Steve? I I don't know. If that's the case, then it could be easily challenged and proven or something. I think. I don't know. I didn't talk to him, but I talked to John and I have a mutual friend who did, and he said afterwards, he goes, that was this isn't a quote, but basically that the test was almost unnecessarily hard and like kind of just ridiculous. So he didn't feel good about it from the beginning like the rest of us did. I mean, look, and a lot of the people I know who passed didn't feel good about it. So, but I don't know if that's true. That would be unfortunate if that were true, Steve. I hope you're wrong. Jeffrey says, morning. He's saying, morning, Jeff. Ghost and Electric Map was great. I remember from the early childhood in the 70s. Woo-wee. Wasn't even born. Ghost says, morning, Michael. Michael says, top of the morning. 1E Nerd. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Ty says, what's up, okay, so I'm trying to, do you get additional count if I listen to a show multiple times? I listened to your 3-day production last year all the time. You must be the one that's making the count go up. Yeah, every time somebody listens, it counts as a count. I think you have to listen for 30 seconds for it to count. That's why when you watch much better produced YouTube videos than what I have, they put the thing that got you to click. So they got the title, right? Gerald Ford falls down the stairs. I'm taking it out of modern context. Gerald Ford falls down the stairs. Oh, I got to see this. You click it, and the first thing you see is Gerald Ford falling down the stairs in the first 30 seconds. Because everybody has ADD now. And you're going to go. So 30 seconds will play. There's Gerald Ford falling, and then it goes to your little intro, and then it's you saying, so the other day, Gerald Ford was, at Miami, and he was getting on the plane, he slipped and fell down the stairs, and blah, 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 and, well, let's look at it again, and then it's you bloviating, and really nobody wants to watch that. So that's why 30 seconds makes a difference. Michael says, for the merch, what type of credit cards do you accept? I think they accept everything, Michael. It's I think you could even do PayPal too. I'm not sure. I've never purchased from our store. I got my t-shirts on the back end, so it's a different system I go through. But I'm pretty sure it takes everything. I mean, it's a third-party t-shirt shop, so they're hooked up with the latest and greatest. Roy says yes. Okay, you have been here, Roy. So cool. Where are you from, Roy? I haven't seen you in here before, so welcome. Thank you for watching, and thank you for commenting. Ghost says, just chilling and leave my 18-day tour of Japan and spread my cheer in the Far East. Very nice. I'd like to go to Japan because I bet the sushi is the best you've ever had. And all the rest of the food. But it just seems like a very nice country to visit. going through the comments to see if there's anything I can respond to. The maps were the chef's kiss to the whole thing. Loved it. Yeah, Mike, 6 Questions Lens had a good point. He said, next time you do something like that, have me call in with a bunch of questions. And I was like, oh, God, why didn't I think of that? That would have been great. Raider says, I wonder if the Barn Resort Buffet thinks about me. Like you think about it? I bet it does. JD Mako says, I want this much time on my hands. Yeah. I only have this much time on my hands because I have an appointment, so I cleared my schedule. But I'm early. Ty says, if you went with Bookman's Farm instead, you could have honored good times and called it the Battle of Buffalo. But, well, we were very specific. It had to be late 80s, early 90s, because that's what we remember from, being contemporary to that time. JD Mako says, love your show. Thank you very much, JD. I appreciate it. Don says, John Hoptack told me that he didn't believe he would pass the exam. He is the ranger that runs the research center in the basement. Yeah, it's not easy, man. It's not an easy exam. And I don't... There's a difference between... I guess this is why it's frustrating, because the one thing that frustrates me about it is this. A good guide is not necessarily a good test taker, but the park needs to have some way to find out who they should waste their time with to see if they'd be a good guide. So a written exam, unless somebody comes up with a better idea, I mean, that's the way they have to do it, right? And they've added these other tiers to further flesh that out and to work with you so that you will be ready to do it. But that's where it's hard for the people who might be naturals. I've listened to John Heiser talk. I've listened to John Hoptack talk. I've been on walks that they've done. And I think they're great. Like, they're engaging people, and the information they choose to share with us is very interesting. I think they would certainly be a good guide, but the way we're tested to see if we're going to be a guide at all, let alone a good one, works against people who are what I call naturals. You got your bookish person who can study and memorize and recite and answer, but that person isn't necessarily going to be good at engaging a group of people or one person. Whereas a person who's good at engaging people is not really a bookish person, is not really a bookworm, not a test taker, not a student of, in the traditional sense. They're a student of life. They're a student of people, of personalities. And you need both. You need the knowledge and you need the personality. And unfortunately, you're not the park service is never going to get to judge the personality of a person until or unless they pass the exam. And until or unless they find a different way to do it, that's the way it's got to be. And the exam has to be stringent and difficult, because there's so many people that want to be guides. So they have to make it so that it's, Also, I get a sense that, maybe some guides don't want more people in the club. They have to have more people in the club, but they don't want more people in the club. I've heard that a couple times from people that I know. And so I don't know. But again, I did exactly as well as I thought I would, and I moved on. Let's see. Oh, we got a few comments here. Where did I leave off here? Okay. Roy's from Colorado. Very nice. We got a lot of listeners all over the place. I like that. Raider says, see you in a few weeks for the July 1st presentation. Can't wait. Can't wait either. Make sure you let me know that you're Raiders 01. So when I see you in the comments next time, I'll know who you are. Roy says, love the new museum. Barbara says, I was in Japan in the early 80s. Best thing for me was vending machines in the street that sold beer. I don't know if they still have them. Hopefully they do. Justin says, I wonder how the guide exam compares to state bar exams. I've heard stories of lawyers taking it and failing it and saying that the bar was easier. So take that with a grain of salt. I've also heard stories of PhDs in history taking it and saying it was easier to get a PhD. It's a whole different process, but still. Good morning, BKW. See you tonight. Don says, that is a great analysis of the process and outcome of the exam. Nice discussion. Thanks, Don. Ghost said, yeah, I'm trying to be fair in that assessment there and level-headed, which is not always easy. But, that's just the way I see it. And I think that's the way it is. And whatever. Ghost says, I'm a cross between both. I pass tests without barely studying, and I'm able to, and a people person as well. Right. So I'm that way too. I get a passing grade, but for something like the guide exam, they need an excelling grade, and I don't get excelling grades on tests. So very rarely have I done that in my career as a student. Well, Matt didn't pass the guide exam, and he's never passed a bar in his life. Oh, man, Ty. Ty, move in here and write one-liners for me, please, for the show. Justin says, thank you. You made me laugh there. That was funny. Ron says, always been my dream to be able to search for artifacts on a battlefield. Yes, well, Roy, I would not recommend that unless it's part of a battlefield that's in private hands and you have permission from the owner, but you will certainly find yourself in a world of hurt if you get caught doing that here or any national park. Eric says, there are other ways to do the guide process. They just chose the path of least resistance. Who did? What? Path of least resistance. The path of least resistance, I think, for me, is when somebody says, hey, I'm coming to town, would you take me around? I say, I'd be glad to. And I take them around. I look at it like this. If they're listeners, patrons or otherwise, and they come to town and I have the time and they want me to do that, I go, it's your funeral. Go ahead. We'll take you around. I didn't pass the guide exam. But you don't charge them. You're allowed to take people around for free. It's all about money. Money. The government doesn't want you to make it unless they can wet their beak. Like the mafia. So that's how it works. And you got to learn to play the game. Mafia doesn't care if you give somebody drugs in their territory, but if you sell somebody drugs, actually they probably do care if you give it. Whatever. I know I've talked about this before, but folks, you got to get yourself some Spindrift. If you want a crisp, refreshing fruit drink that doesn't have any sugar or artificial sweeteners, it's just the juice and some bubbly water, well, Spindrift is for you. Eric says, least resistance for the people at the park. Oh, yeah. They don't have to use critical thinking to choose people. It's simply based on pass-fail. They don't have to judge skills and make tough decisions. Correct. It's the most dispassionate way that they can choose people. And when you have 160 signed up and 140 something showed up. When you have that many people to go through and deal with, and there's like essay writing, which that had to be a nightmare with everybody's, people's handwriting all over the place. and writing skills might not be as good as your speaking skills or your question answering skills. And so that had to be such a headache to grade those exams. I have to say, like, I have a great deal of respect for the people who were on the grading committee, because that would just drive me nuts. My eyes would start bleeding. Don says, yes, the tours I gave last weekend, I told them that I could not and would not accept pay. I do it because I love it. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just keep it, if you love it, that, sometimes, not all the time, but once in a while, it ends up being better than any cash somebody could have put in your hand. If you do it because you love it, something else more valuable might come out of it, like a new friend, or I don't know, your future wife or whatever. So, if you really truly love doing it, then do it. Eric says, that's why you don't hire people in the real world solely based on passing a test. Yes, yes, yes. Well, you just said it there, the real world. What the private sector does is real. What government does is, I don't know, what is that, experimental or fantasy, or I don't know what it is, but it's very far from reality. Yes, Barbara, there is a show tonight, provided no technical difficulties that makes me tear everything apart, throw it out the window, and disappear to friends, family, and the audience. Ty says, anything graded on a curve seems BS. Thank you. I know that's very common for curves, but I always felt like you're cheating for me. If you grade us on a curve, then first of all, why should you need to grade on a curve? Right? The test should be passable to people who know what they're talking about. And there should be far more than 20 people scoring above an 80 if it's a passable test. So yeah, I never liked that in school. I was like, well, okay, so and you tell me ahead of time, so you're gonna grade us on a curve. Well, I don't need to really work as hard. And if I'm the person who always gets an A without a curve, what does that do? I don't know. Like I'm with you on that. I think it's just an indicator of a failure somewhere, and it's not in the students. Paul says, I played tour guide last weekend for the Bloody Angle and Parker's Revenge. It was fun. Yeah, it is fun once in a while. I do like to listen to people who, and I only like to listen because, well, I don't know why, but I like when I see somebody who's obviously like the guy who read Gods in General, or the Killer Angels, amongst his friend group. And I stop and listen to them giving a tour, and I wait for the myth or the fanciful thing, or the whatever, or the confusion of casualties meaning dead, stuff like that. Rusty says, I thought it'd be better weather today, trying to wait until a break to get out of the car on Confederate Avenue. I looked at the forecast before I started this video, and I don't think you're going to get that break. It's supposed to stop raining, I think, around noon, but then it's just going to be windy and cloudy. Yeah, it's going to be an ugly day, but at least it's 75 degrees, supposedly. It's 58 now, so it's only gone up 3 degrees since I last checked. Ghost of Sickles Lake says, doing well, getting ready for Japan. I leave okay, we got that. Don Dingle says, Buster Kilrain. Yes, the Buster Kilrain people. Well, no, that's the other thing is like, yeah, like if you're at Little Round Top and you're at the 20th Main and they're giving the Killer Angels version of the fight there, but again, who cares? Because they might be getting their friends interested in it, and then those friends might go, hey, you know what? I'm gonna buy this book, and they buy a book and they learn more. I like that idea. Ghost says maybe next April 1st, a group tour of Parsons Mills and why death exceeds wounds. I wonder how many people would sign up. Rich Snyder says you can't go wrong with Matt's Get Out of the Car tours. Louis Pa Louis is so much. Okay, Louis puts so much research into it and will email you if he doesn't have the answers at the time. Paul says, damn, that would be a fun trip. We are trying to figure out plans for Lex and Concord as they change the dates there. And then Rusty says, this is Ethan, by the way. Ethan, which Ethan? I know like 3 Ethans. Is this Carlisle Ethan? Is this New York State Ethan? Is this Ethan Edwards? He said, I played tour guide several times for coworkers, and my God, it was hell to give tours to folks who didn't care one iota about the battle, but wanted to just drink at the Blue and Gray. Yeah. Carlisle Ethan, okay. You coming tonight still, right? Carlisle Ethan? Oh, that's the other thing I think is that made me realize I don't want to be a guide is that portion of the population, the like unintellectual, uninterested, dopey good time people, the woohoo people. Those I couldn't it would be I couldn't stand that. Ty says, Rusty, I thought maybe you were a gassy horse from Seinfeld. Only after K. That's funny. That part of that Seinfeld reference I do get. All right, so I got 15 minutes. Yeah, I think I'll go in and wait in case they can see me early. You guys have yourselves a fantastic day. Tonight on the show, forgive me, I forget his name, but he owns the record store that is in where the Union Cigar Club used to be. He's also a musician. He'll be performing, I think, tonight as well. We at least offered him the opportunity to. And he's going to talk about his record store. He's going to play some music. We'll, see what's going on. But definitely a place worth stopping in next time you're walking around Baltimore streets, right off the square where the Union Cigar Club used to be. That's our guest tonight. In a week or two, a few weeks, at some point, I don't know, some point this month, we have the organizers of Bike Week coming on. And so they will be on to talk about Bike Week, and I'll simultaneously share my vacation plans for that week. And then, I don't know, we've got some other people coming up. Starting in May, I'm going to do AG Today once a month for the foreseeable future. I need, again, this is a measure, a time opening up measure. But I do want to continue to be in touch with y'all. And while we're out, or whatever we're doing related to working on video projects for this year, patrons will kind of give you like behind the scenes stuff over there. And I'll also probably start membership here on YouTube, and give behind the scenes, do some behind the scenes stuff there as well. Only because, doing it as a membership thing will help, because we do need the money, because these things, the costs are getting higher now. So, yeah. So yeah, once a month, May through whenever. May stay that way forever, might not, might come back weekly. Might also move it over entirely to Patreon. Not sure yet. I'm going to kind of play it by feel and see how that all works out. So there's that. Timothy York says, I was up in the Berg last week from Atlanta where I met up with Michael Six Questions Lentz. Great guy who has all the right stuff for an LBG. I agree. Ghost says, will do, and I will bring beefaroni to pay. I don't know what that's probably a conversation he's already got going on there. Okay, yeah, he does. See you tonight, BKW. And, BKW, I think, I'm pretty sure those are your initials, but it always reminds me of BTK. And I'm afraid you're going to strangle me or something. Anyway, you guys have yourselves a great day. See you tonight. If you're one of the cool people that watches AG today live and comments and calls in, I'll see you tonight. I'll talk to you tonight. If you're not one of those cool people, become one today. 5:30 Eastern Standard Time-ish. AG Today live show. Lots of fun and frivolity. And you get to learn about what's new and exciting in Gettysburg today in 2025. Godspeed.